Welcome students. This video belongs to class 8. The subject is English grammar and the chapter is 17 Transformation of Sentence. So my dear students, in this video we will be revising lesson 17 Transformation of Sentences. What do you understand by the transformation of sentences? It means changing or converting the words or any form of the sentence without changing its meaning or any sense. The knowledge of sentence transformation helps us to expand our usage skills by testing various ways of presenting a sentence into multiple ways, but without changing its actual meaning. For example, I have worked here since 2010 can also be expressed like I worked here in 2010. So the contents which we will be revising are in front of your screen. So the first one is interchange of the degrees of comparison. Second, interchange of affirmative and negative sentences. Interchange of assertive and interrogative sentences. Interchange of assertive and exclamatory sentences. Sentences containing the adverb to. First, interchange of the degrees of comparison. So my dear students, we can change the three degrees of comparison without changing the meaning. What all are the 3 degrees of comparison? That is, it can be changed from positive to comparative or to superlative or vice versa. As you can see in front of your screen, there are one example of positive, one example of comparative, and one example of superlative. Let's start with the positive. No other city in India is so big as Calcutta. Let's see the comparative example. Calcutta is bigger than any other city in India. And the superlative is Calcutta is the biggest city in India. So my dear students, you all must have noticed that we are talking about Calcutta in these 3 sentences. But the change has been different, but the meaning of these 3 sentences remains the same. If a single quality is compared between 2 persons, more or most are to be used. When 2 qualities, a single person or a single thing is compared, more is used with the first adjective, even if it is a single syllable word. So here we are talking about no other city. So here we are talking about Calcutta. And we are comparing the other cities to Calcutta. Right? Where we are comparing? We are comparing in the second part, that is the comparative degrees of comparison, where we are comparing it with the other cities. And in superlative, we are talking about that the Calcutta is one of the biggest city in India. Interchange of affirmative and negative sentence. If we find the word am, is, are, was, along with the adjective in any affirmative sentences, we will write the word not instead of that word. Am, is, are, was, were plus adjective. And make the opposite word of the adjective when we are changing into a negative sentence. For example, let's say the affirmative sentence is man is mortal. Now by adding not before the adjective mortal, and similarly with that, we have what we have done, we have changed the meaning of the sentence by making the opposite of mortal, that is immortal, because we don't have to change the meaning of the sentence. So man is mortal. If we will change man is not mortal, so that we will change what we are going to do. We will change the sentence. But by keeping this in mind, that we don't have to change the meaning of the sentence. So for that, we have to make the word adjective, and we have to opposite it while adding not before it. So essentially, what happens when we are using affirmative form or a positive form, which basically expresses the validity or the truth of basic assertion, while a negative form expresses its falsity. A negative sentence here is a sentence that basically states that something is false. In English, we create negative sentences by adding the word not after the auxiliary or helping verb. An example of an auxiliary verb is the helping verb be. Interchange of assertive and interrogative sentence. When you interchange any assertive sentence and interrogative sentence, you need to change the tone. What is tone? Whether the sentence is affirmative or negative. If the sentence is in the assertive sentence, then or if these assertive sentences are in the affirmative form, then the interrogative will be negative, and if it is a negative, then the assertive will be affirmative. The most important rule is when you interchange an assertive and interrogative sentences, you must change the tone. I mean, if the assertive sentence is affirmative and the interrogative will be negative, and if it is negative, the assertive will be affirmative. While transforming interrogative sentences into assertive sentences, we add not if the interrogative sentence is in the affirmative. For example, let's say, is he not a bright student? Which type of sentence it is? It is an interrogative sentence. Does it contain negative word? Yes. But when we change into the assertive one, so we will not be adding not into the sentence, because the interrogative sentence itself contains the negative sense, right? But when we are changing into assertive, the negative sense should not be there in the assertive one. So the sentence will be like this: he is a bright student. Full stop. Interchange of assertive and exclamatory sentences. In order to change an exclamatory sentences into an assertive without changing its meaning, we have to add words like very, indeed, truly, etc. But we need to check the need of the sentence, and then we have to remove the exclamation mark. For example, when any exclamatory sentences which starts with how or what, in these sentences, how or what are always replaced by the subject and use very before the adjective to interchange the exclamatory sentences into assertive sentences. For example, assertive is assertive. It is a matter of regret that he has again failed in exam. Now, when we have to change into exclamatory, we have to use alas, he has again failed in exam. What kind of explanation I want to give here is that here in exclamatory sentence, you will use the word alas instead of the word. It is a matter of sorrow or regret, that because, and it is from the assertive sentence. Then immediately after the word alas, next there will be an exclamation mark. Sentences containing the adverb to. So adverb to is changed into so that. For example, these mangoes are too cheap to be good. So in place of to, what we have added so and that, and then immediately we have changed and interchanged and convert these sentences into the another sentence, right? So the sentence will be changed as per like this: these mangoes are so cheap that they cannot be good. There are different rules which has been there for making these sentences, and we remove these adverb to. First, if there is a use of adjective after to and infinitive after adjective, then he was too tired to work. So is used in place of the adverb to, that is used after the used adjective in the sentence. After this, anyone from he, she, it, they, I, we is used according to the subject of the first clause. Second rule, if the infinitive is negative, which is used after to, then during the transformation of such sentences, not is not used. Another thing, if the subject of the sentence is it or inanimate, then change for me into I, for him into he, for us into we, and for them into they, which are used in that sentence. If the adjective is used after to, but infinitive is not used in the sentence, then extremely or over is used in the place of to. So students, I hope you must have revised the chapter thoroughly. Now, here are some of the questions for you to practice. So the first question is, transform the following sentences to interrogative and the exclamatory. The first one has been done as an example, and then remaining 4 questions you have to do. Next question, where you have to transform the sentences by removing to, by adding so that. Question C, where you have to change these interrogative sentences to assertive and the assertive sentences into interrogative sentences. Thank you and have a nice day.